we're going to learn in physics today?
Today, we are going to learn about gravitational potential energy. It's the energy gained by the object due to its height. We can model this energy by the formula U equals mgh. I wonder what kind of experiment we can do to understand this topic more nicely.
Oh, sir, my friend and I actually made a video on this topic. Let me show it to you on my cell phone.
This is our home video. In the first round of our experiment, my friend will drop a basketball and a squash ball to the ground separately. Let's see what happens. In the second round of our experiment, my friend will put the squash ball on top of the basketball. Let's see what happens when he drops both the balls from shoulder height. Now we're going to try to explain what happened in our experiments. When the basketball is dropped from shoulder height, it possesses some gravitational potential energy. As the ball falls, that energy is converted to kinetic energy. When the ball collides with the floor, the kinetic energy is transferred to the floor and converted to heat. The remainder of the energy is used to bounce the basketball back up. The same is obviously true for the squash ball. So far, it seems pretty simple, right? But in the second round of our experiment, when the squash ball is on top of the basketball transfers some energy to the squash ball when it rebounds. The basketball now only rebounds to knee height, because the energy that the basketball transferred to the squash ball caused the basketball to bounce less high than the first experiment. And because of the same energy, the squash ball now bounces much higher than the first experiment.
That was a really nice video. So while we were watching the video, I tried to picturize the experiment that you did on the board, and I also tried to picturize yourself on the board. So we know that when you were holding the basketball like this, it had some potential energy due to your shoulder height. That is 1.5 meters. So we can use this height to calculate the potential energy of the basketball when you were holding it. And that comes down to 8.8 joules. You can do the same thing for the squash ball and use the same height. And we get the potential energy for the squash ball to be 0.59. Now, after the ball collides with the ground, it rebounds to a different height. And we know that the basketball rises up to 1.2 meters, that is your waist height. So we can use this height to calculate the potential energy of the basketball after it rebounds. And this is 7.1 joules. We do the same thing for the squash ball, but for the squash ball, it rises up to 0.3 meters, that is your ankle height. Use this height to calculate the potential energy of the squash ball, and that is 0.12 joules. As you can see, that the original and the rebound potential energies are different. So we can calculate the potential energy that was lost after the collision. So we just subtract the rebound potential energy from the original energy. And for the basketball, we get 1.7 joules. For the squash ball, we get 0.47 joules. So in the second step, when you had the squash ball on top of the basketball, and you dropped it from the same height, that is 1.5 meters, you get a different rebound height of the basketball. You can use this height to calculate the potential energy of the basketball after it rebounds. So this new height was 0.8 meters, and that is below your waist height, unlike in first step. So we get 4.7 joules as the rebound potential energy of the basketball. And we know that the rebound potential energy of the basketball in first step was 7.1. So we can subtract 4.7 from 7.1, and we get the potential energy that was transferred by the basketball to the squash ball. That is 2.4 joules. The squash ball has the sum of potential energy that was transferred by the basketball and that it originally had from the step 1 that we calculated to be 0.59 in step 1. And the basketball transferred 2.4 joules to the squash ball. And this sums up to be 2.99 joules. So we know that the potential energy that squash ball has after the basketball transferred its potential energy, some of its potential energy, is 2.99. We can use this potential energy to calculate how high the squash ball rises. And you get the height to be 7.6 meters. So that was a really good experiment by you, and you'll probably get an A+ for that.
Yeah.